What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to CM Aviation. Hope you're on a fantastic day today. And today I have a very exciting unboxing for you all. Super excited for this today. This is a really unique piece, and I want to give a huge thank you to the aircraft model store based out of the UK here for their support to make this a reality. So this is a really cool piece. Definitely use my discount code CM Aviation for 10% off if you're interested. And it's really cool to see what they're doing over there. And I know that I have quite a few collectors from the UK and from Europe in general, so I'm happy to provide you all a option that's a little bit, more feasible for you all, because we know how international shipping is and so forth. But for my US collectors as well, this is actually from a local distribution center here in the US is what we're taking a look at, and they do have some items here in the US that make it a little bit more affordable. So with that being said, let's get that out of the way. What do we need that for? Ladies and gentlemen, this is the regional airport map from the aircraft model store. So this is their own piece. They have made this themselves, and I think this is really cool. So you can use this in quite a variety of ways for 1:400 and 1:500 scale. This is a 13 stand airport with quite a bit of flexibility. You can kind of see the hard stands and so forth. So yeah, this is really cool. We're not going to waste any further time and just go ahead and pop the top on this and get into the details. So this is a hardback board, a folding board. It's 2 millimeters thick. So I believe that's going to transpire into the realms of, like, I don't know, maybe 10 centimeters or so. I don't know my math, of course, but this is really cool. Just take a look at this. So it comes in this very nice box, and it's a 6-piece tile setup, so very easy to take with you and do whatever you like. Now this table, to be completely honest, may not work the best for it, or this fold-up table, but we are going to see what we can do. So a 6-piece setup. So let's see if I can successfully fold this without breaking it. You can see a little bit of a binge there. That's just my fault. There we go. I see what it wants. So you fold it out like this, and there we go. That's what I was going for. There we go. So as you can see, there it is. So this looks really cool. This is a really nice board, and I'm going to move some aircraft onto it so that we can get a little bit of a better view. So give me just a moment, and we will really get an analysis of what this looks like. And here it is, everybody. So as you can tell, it is a really neat setup, and I have quite a few aircraft put on it here, so you can kind of get a look at kind of what it looks like and a high-level overview of the entire setup. So here it is. Once again, it's a 6-panel board, so you can kind of see the creases here of where it comes together. And honestly, I really like it. I really like the versatility that you can use it for both scales, and I think that is a really cool aspect of this. You can certainly see a couple of pieces where it for sure is meant for that, but it certainly is very capable for 1:400 too. So let's kind of talk about some of the details. I'm going to start with the actual stands themselves, and we'll kind of work back. So the intent here is to represent a full display, kind of a European emphasis, more air stair like. So you can see the hard stands over here, which makes sense obviously with them being a European European retailer. So I have no problem with that, of course. So here's kind of some of the stands, and as you can tell, there's kind of some various pieces for mix and matching. So I have 4 narrow bodies here, and then this one can be universal, but really that's definitely a 1:500 type deal, because if I put my American here, which there's no problem with that obviously, it doesn't work quite as good. But when I put the American here, then we're back in action. So as you can tell, it looks really nice right there, and that's definitely the look that you're going to want. So very good wing clearance here. Yeah, it's definitely to the narrow body, and you can fit them here, so I like that very much. But even if I did want to put a Gulfstream here, I think I could. So you could use it for that, or really whatever you'd like, but a 1:500 regional would be kind of what that's looking at, it appears to me. But you do have the neat stands here. You also have the access road, which does fit normal GSE in both scales, which is great. So that is a really nice aspect, and I really like it. And you also have this universal one over here, which you can't put a wide body there, but you certainly could put a narrow body once again. You could put a 7.6 if you want, or really, whatever you'd like. But here's kind of a look at kind of what that looks like. So that looks really cool, and overall, very happy with how all that came together. So here's kind of the high-level overview of that. Now let's go ahead and kind of take a look and pan over here to the 3 stands on the corner. I do have a 747 here. I'm just simulating, obviously, but you certainly could get the narrow bodies in here pretty easily. So let me get my American A321neo, and 100% you probably can get a 767 in here somewhere if you really wanted to. But as you can tell, they look really nice and fit in the corner well. Obviously, they have pushback restrictions, but that is every airport in the US and really around the world has those. So there's no problem with that, of course. So it looks really nice, and I'll angle it off on the other corner, and you can see that one's a little bit more clear. So it just depends on where and what you get, but obviously I think it's a really cool design here in the corner. I really like this piece right here. That's a really cool piece of the puzzle. So that's really nice and certainly very cool as well. Now, taxiways are a big observation as well. I just want to, I like the consolidated design also that can be used for both scales. So this isn't criticism. This is just a realistic expectation and observation, of course, that I'm providing for you all. That wide body 1-400 certainly are not very capable of taxiing in a couple of places on the mat. This is one of them through the access roads. So that's where you just got to be mindful of that. They fortunately can pretty much taxi down on the middle there. Obviously it gets a little tight, but you certainly can get it there if you'd like. And then I can also move it over here to where you also can get it there. There's a little bit of overhang, but I'm also using 747. So, but you can tell it's really nice there for the private jets. They really look nice there. So that's kind of the thought. And narrow bodies for sure. Let me go ahead and put the Delta over here so you can see that for narrow bodies, it really is great. So that's where it comes into fruition. Then the runway as well, really nicely detailed. You can see my C-17 there, but getting a 747 on it. As you can tell, it definitely can handle a wide body 400 scale aircraft. So very happy with how that came to be, and it looks really nice. So yeah, here's kind of just a look at what some taxiing aircraft look like, and you can definitely tell it's also a very good material here. It's not a wood, but it's also like almost like a cardboard, so it's not going to break on you, but it's also not too clunky to carry around, which is nice. So you definitely could pack this up in probably even a backpack if you really wanted to, but any sort of container and take it wherever you want without, this is just a great way if you're looking to get a model airport, but also don't want to commit a crazy amount of money and also a crazy amount of resources. This really is a good consolidated setup. Here's the wide body stands over here. There's 5 of them. And as you can tell, these work really good for the wide bodies here. So we have the Boeing 787 and A350 examples. And as you can tell, very nicely done. They look really sharp, no overhang. I had it misaligned there. So yeah, it really works good. And these are definitely really great for the 1-400 wide bodies. This is where you're going to want to put them on the mats. So I really like that. You also have room here to add an FBO or really whatever you would like, a terminal building of sorts. So, but obviously you could simulate. What I would do is I would take like a little inch piece of wood and make it pretty tall, and I would put this against the wall facing this way, and I would make a terminal building back there. That's what I would do, kind of simulate that up a little bit. And then obviously these are designated regional, well, can be regional, but regional mainline hard stands. So I really like that, but I really like, kind of the intent put behind here. You also have a little corner here that you could do really whatever with. I would probably put some sort of access building there, but that's certainly an option. And then obviously you even could work on over here, but I would just put the inch piece of wood here right up to the line there, and this really can make for a good display. So I'll definitely take this inside and set it up for you all and get a little bit more of an intent setup and probably even an airport update, because it is really a cool display. And this is definitely realistic for me to utilize in a future accommodation setup at some point, whether that's through my job or whatever I choose to do. And I think that's really the takeaway from this particular setup, is that you really can use it for quite a wide variety. You can make a full model airport out of it. You can make a particular display. There's a couple of European airports that have a similar design to this. So obviously it is pretty good. So pricing there, I think it is a really cool